Welcome back to Where You Live with Gene and Tony, and Merry Christmas, everyone, on this Sunday, December 25th. We're so glad that you're with us this morning. You can spend some time. If you're just joining us, we're going to be covering in just a moment a story that was reported in the Minneapolis Star-Tribune, where the city council came down and revoked all the licenses of one landlord in particular. They said it was the third largest landlord that they've revoked licenses from to date. We're going to be talking in just a few minutes from a gentleman, Mr. Bill McGoy, who's a member of the Minneapolis Property Rights Action Committee. We're going to get his take on that. A little bit later, too, we're going to be we're following a story from Chicago, where the Federal Housing Finance Agency, FHFA, is now filing a lawsuit against the city of Chicago because Chicago is trying to enforce mortgage holders on foreclosed properties to be responsible in upkeep for the properties that they have. We're going to talk about that, too. Before we go into either of these stories, though, just would like to let our listeners know we have a couple of free things that we want to give you. The first is a subscription to our bi-monthly newsletter called What's New. A lot of the articles that we cover in that newsletter are topics that we cover here on the radio show. A lot of the people that we've had on the show, too, are presenters and writers for that publication. It's yours free. Just give us a call at 952-922-2500. Ask for Courtney. She'll make sure that you start receiving your copy. The other is we are also proud members of the Community Associations Institute, CAI, and they're offering a free membership, a one-year membership into that organization. All you need to do is to be the first caller on our hotline, and you will be able to start receiving a great membership, a great resource, the publications, magazines, other things that you'll have at your fingertip, the networking. If you're on a board, thinking of going on a board of directors, thinking of buying in an association, this is for you. And Tony, why don't you tell our listeners what that hotline number is? The
hotline number is 952-224-2668.
Yes. And just make sure you give us name, phone number, address, email address so that we can contact you. Well, let's get into our next story. And this was, again, from about a week ago with in the Minneapolis Star-Tribune. And it says Minneapolis revoked a landlord's licenses. And what took place was that the Minneapolis City Council voted, I think it was, I guess it would be just this...
A week ago Monday.
Yeah. Yeah. To revoke a license of 16 Northside properties. And apparently this angered housing advocates who claimed that tenants were being unfairly forced from their homes. And the action is stripping one particular landlord from permission of being able to rent these homes out. And we wanted to get a firsthand glimpse of what was going on. So we're happy to welcome to our show this morning a member of the Minneapolis Property Rights Action Committee, Mr. Bill McGoy. Hello, Bill. Hello, Bill.
Can you hear me?
Oh, there we go. Yes. Good morning. Thank you for taking some time to be with us. Could you tell us a little bit about what took place here? Were you at City Hall that particular day?
Yes, I was. I'm a member of Minneapolis Property Rights Action Committee. Basically, we exist to fight abusive city government in the inspections department particularly. We heard that they were planning to revoke the licenses. We wanted to give some moral support, but more importantly, we wanted to send a message to the council that they're not just going to roll over people. They said it's automatic. There was an ordinance that requires them to revoke all the licenses or gives them that ability when two are gone. That's an abusive situation. It's a vastly disproportionate punishment to whatever offense might have occurred. So we were there to make something happen.
Okay.
Well,
give me an example here. What were some of the things that the city council, what were they stating was wrong and a reason they were giving for revoking this gentleman's license?
Well, my impression was they didn't really go into the details of what happened. Basically, there were rental licenses revoked on 2 of the properties.
And for what reason? Was that maintenance issues?
On one of them, one of the tenants was caught possessing drugs in the building.
There was a crime thing.
Right.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with the condition of the building.
Okay.
And the man, Folger, the owner, had hired a manager to manage the apartment who was talked out of evicting the woman who was possessing drugs. She felt sorry for her.
And who did the talking to talk this
tenant.
person out? Was it?
I'm sorry. Well, Folger eventually evicted the person,
Okay.
but that was one strike against him.
Okay.
He didn't get rid of her fast enough.
But they revoked his license for that one issue?
No. It's a 3-step process. They issue warning letters.
Okay.
And after the first warning letter, he got a request to do a management plan to make sure that drugs were not found in the building again. And I would point out that the police can't come up with a management plan to make sure that no drugs are used in the Twin Cities.
Yeah.
but property owners are supposed to guarantee that this won't happen again and submit a plan.
So do you think the fact that they asked for a management plan, that's going too far, or do you think that that's all right?
Well, they can ask for whatever they want. I think this was a second strike against him, as I understand, because he didn't submit the management plan in time.
I see.
And then it had to do with his not making an appointment with the inspector on an occasion or two. And he said that there were 2 different inspections scheduled at the same time, and he couldn't be at both of them. So they wrote him up for failing to make the inspection. So
did he ever say, do you know if Mr. Folger ever said to the city, hey, by the way, I'm meeting your fellow compatriot at the same time. Can we get one of these others scheduled?
He said he did. He called. They have a message that says we'll get back to you within 48 hours. They never did. So he said he did try to notify them of the conflict. It didn't matter.
So but was that one of the
was
that one of the revocations?
Yes, I don't know. There must have been 6 different incidents. Theoretically, it takes 3 warning letters
I see
for
on each one.
of 2 properties.
And then the ordinance says that once 2 licenses have been revoked, then the city can revoke all your licenses.
Right.
Is that correct? So that's what happened. That was triggered where all 16 of his licenses got revoked.
That's not a legitimate policy.
That's what you're disputing. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they can pass any kind of an ordinance, but look, inspections is supposed to monitor the condition of properties from a safety and a public health standpoint. This has nothing to do with it. It's a political game. They've been playing this for years. Somebody's got to call them on it, and they can't be called on it through the normal means. So we created an incident at that hearing. We let them do their talking. They wouldn't let us say anything. We had some signs there. And after they adjourned the meeting, we started shouting at them, "Heartless, heartless." And they didn't know what hit them. But that's the only way to get at these people.
Let me ask you something.
What?
The article says that not only were the property rights advocates chanting "heartless," but also the tenants union advocates were chanting "heartless."
Yeah,
is this one of the few times both sides have gotten together on an issue?
I would say it's not one of the few times. We're much closer than people realize.
Oh, interesting.
This is kind of the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
The tenants are not our enemies.
Yeah,
They're our
beautiful.
customers.
Beautiful point.
But we're both fighting abusive city government, and people don't realize what's going on in this city.
Interesting.
Well, let me ask you this, Bill. Or I tell you what, we've got to take looks like a quick break.
Okay.
If you wouldn't mind hanging on, can you stay for one other segment?
I sure could.
That would be great, folks. We're talking to Bill McCoy, who's a member of the Minneapolis Property Rights Action Committee, about this last week decision from the Minneapolis City Council that revoked the licensing of all the properties owned by one landlord in Minneapolis. We're going to be talking with Bill more, but after this break.